Have you ever watched someone you love slowly lose their strength, their balance, their memory, their independence, and wondered quietly, does aging really have to look like this? What if I told you the answer is no? What if the next decade of your life could be the strongest, healthiest, and most capable version of you, regardless of your age today? Stay with me, because the truth you're about forward. Most people think aging is a downhill journey, an unavoidable slide toward weakness, forgetfulness, and dependency. They believe that once you turn 70, your body simply gives up, your mind slows down, and your future becomes a shadow of your past. But that belief is not just wrong, it is dangerous. Because the science of longevity today paints a very different picture. It shows that aging is not a cliff you fall off. It is a skill you can train. And when you understand the 5 principles I'm about to share, you no longer fear getting older. You begin to shape it. You begin to own it. You begin to step into a future where you remain strong at 70, capable at 80, and vibrant at 90 and beyond. The first truth you must understand is this. Everyone will experience what doctors call the marginal decade. It is the final 10 to 15 years of your life. Whether you want it or not, that decade is coming. But here's the part almost nobody realizes. The quality of that final decade is being determined right now, in the way you live today. Most people don't think about this until it's too late. They see their parents struggling to stand up from a chair, taking slow steps, losing strength and independence, forgetting simple things, becoming shadows of the powerful humans they once were. They believe this decline is normal, natural, inevitable. But it doesn't have to be. You can't stop the marginal decade from coming, but you can shape what it looks like. You can choose whether your final chapter is filled with struggle or strength. Dr. Peter Attia, one of the most respected longevity experts in the world, describes something remarkable. He says that at age 75, something dramatic happens. At the population level, both men and women suddenly drop off a health cliff. Not one step, not a slow slide, a cliff. Your strength, mobility, and balance can fall by half. Your energy declines sharply. Your ability to live independently can disappear. But here's the miracle. This decline is not random. It is predictable. And because it is predictable, it is preventable. Not in the sense that you can stop aging, but in the sense that you can prepare for it so powerfully that the fall feels like a gentle slope instead of a crash. The people who enter their 70s and 80s with strength, clarity, and vitality are not lucky. They are trained. They have built their bodies like an athlete prepares for a championship. Not the Olympics, but something far more meaningful, the final decades of their life. When you realize this, you stop living by accident. You begin living with intention. You begin training for the life you want. And what does that training look like? It starts with fitness, the medicine that almost every doctor ignores. Not the fitness of running marathons or lifting heavy weights you see in magazines. No, the fitness of being able to get down on the floor and stand up without help. The fitness of carrying your grocery bags with confidence. The fitness of climbing stairs without your heart pounding like a drum. The fitness of playing with your grandchildren instead of watching from a chair. These small abilities are not small at all. They are your independence. They are your freedom. They are your life. Studies show that your muscle mass, strength, and cardiorespiratory fitness predict how long you will live more accurately than cholesterol, blood pressure, or almost any other medical test. Think about that. It means your legs, your lungs, your heart, your strength. These are the real indicators of your future. Not your pills, not your supplements, not your genetics, your physical capacity. One of the strongest measures of this capacity is something called VO2 max. Your body's ability to use oxygen. It sounds scientific, but its meaning is simple. VO2 max tells you how powerful your engine is. A high VO2 max means your body fights disease better, recovers faster, handles stress stronger, and stays younger, longer. Dr. Attia trains for around 10 hours every week, building endurance, strength, and heart capacity, not because he wants to be an athlete, but because he wants to be a present father at 90, not a patient. He wants to carry his grandchildren, not be carried. He wants to live with energy, not regret. And that is the mindset shift every person over 40, 50, 60, and 70 needs to make. You don't train to look good, you train so you can live well. But physical strength alone is not enough. That's where the next principle changes everything. Medicine as we know it today, what Attia calls Medicine 2. Medicine 2.0 waits for problems to happen. You get sick, then you get treated. You develop heart disease, then you get medication. You get diagnosed with diabetes, then you change your diet. But by the time these problems show up, the damage has already been happening silently for years. Traditional medicine reacts. But if you want to stay strong at 70, 80, or beyond, you must learn to predict. Prevention must become your daily discipline. This is the foundation of what he calls Medicine 3.0, a proactive, preventative approach to health. It uses tools we already have, DEXA scans to track bone and muscle, early MRIs to catch problems before they explode, blood biomarkers that reveal risk years before symptoms appear, genetic testing that gives you a map of your future so you can shape it instead of fear it. Most people skip these tests, not because they're unimportant, but because nobody ever told them that prevention is the difference between living long and living well. Another powerful principle is nutrition, not fad diets, not magic supplements, not trendy hacks, the basics that actually work. Dr. Attia emphasizes one thing above almost everything else: protein. Older adults need much more protein than they believe. It protects muscle, repairs tissue, strengthens bone, and fuels longevity. When your muscle disappears, everything disappears. Your balance, your posture, your mobility, your independence. This is why seniors who eat more protein and do resistance training age better. Not by a little, but dramatically. But perhaps the most overlooked piece of the longevity puzzle, the one most people forget, is mental and emotional health. You can be physically strong and still be spiritually exhausted. You can have perfect blood tests and still feel hollow, angry, lonely, or anxious. You can survive into your late 80s, but lose years of joy because you never healed the wounds inside you. Dr. Attia himself struggled with deep emotional trauma from his childhood. He dealt with depression, anger, self-doubt, and mental battles that no test could detect. It took therapy, support, and vulnerability to heal. And here's the truth. Emotional healing is not optional if you want a strong, fulfilling life. Longevity is not just about adding years. It's about adding life to those years. And what adds the most life? Relationships. Not shallow ones, not forced ones. Deep, meaningful connections. Studies show that the number one predictor of longevity, aside from smoking, is the quality of your relationships. People with strong bonds live longer, not because they exercise more, but because love itself heals. Loneliness kills, connection protects. This is not philosophy, it is biology. Your nervous system calms in the presence of people who care about you. Your stress hormones drop, your immune system strengthens, your heart literally beats healthier. So ask yourself, who will hold your hand at 80? Who will laugh with you at 85? Who will you share stories with at 90? Relationships are medicine. Love is longevity. And emotional healing is a form of strength training too, a training of the heart. When you put all these principles together, training your body like your life depends on it, using preventative medicine instead of waiting for sickness, nourishing your muscles and bones with the right foods, caring for your emotional wounds, and building relationships that lift and support you, you unlock a new definition of aging. Not a decline, not a fading, but a rising. A rising into a version of yourself that is wiser, stronger, more grounded, more fulfilled, more capable, and more alive than you've ever been. The truth is simple. Aging will happen to you, but decline doesn't have to. Strength is a choice. Preparation is a choice. Living well is a choice. And the most powerful moment to make that choice is today. Because the difference between being 80 and being 90 is not just 10 years. It is the difference between being able to do the things you love and watching life from the sidelines. Between being a burden and being a blessing. Between regret and gratitude. Your future self is waiting, and the way you live today determines who that future self becomes. So start now. Strengthen your body, feed your muscles, protect your mind, heal your heart, build your relationships, train for the marginal decade, so when it arrives, you enter it not with fear, but with confidence. Aging is not the end, it is your next great chapter, and you get to decide how powerful that chapter will be. If the inner spark inspired you, tap like, subscribe, and drop a comment to keep this fire growing.